Hello everyone and welcome to Game 2 in a series between AAA's Nerchio and Lucifron here on Tal'Darim Altar. Let me make sure I know what version of Tal'Darim Altar it is. There are no destructible rocks here. There is only one Vespene Geyser, and there is no backdoor entrance from here to here. So very important. There are some minor differences. I believe this is the GSL version of the map, or the ESL, or TSL, or LLL. Anyways, Lucifron spawning as the green Terran player on the top left-hand side of the map. On the bottom right-hand side of the map, we do have the blue Zerg. And just so you guys know, don't look for the LLL tournament or LLL league. I just made that up. If there is one, yeah, sorry, organizers of LLL, I never heard of you. Lucifron spawning as the green Terran player on the top left-hand side. Nerchio on the bottom right-hand side as the blue Zerg. Tal'Darim Altar, a very large map, and I'm curious as to how Lucifron is really going to play this particular map. It does tend to favor Zerg play, especially this version of the map where there is an expansion here, and even if you try to fast expand against a Zerg opponent, there is no destructible rocks here, so what I'll call a 2.5 expansion up and running for the Zerg. So if your opponent fast expands, you can then follow right behind it and fast expand yourself. Excuse me. So we'll see what is going to be coming down. We are seeing a drone now making its way over. Will set up a fast hatchery here. Meanwhile, Lucifron not going for the double barracks opening that we saw on Shakura's plateau, instead going for some gas. So it looks like it will be that standard tech play. I believe that was a 13 gas, followed by 12 barracks, 13 gas there. We should have an upgrade to an orbital command with the additional training of 1 Marine. Or is he not going to train a Marine? It looks like he's going to add a tech lab instead. So this may be a Reaper expansion here on Tal'Darim Altar. Also a very nice opening, especially against Zerg, who do tend to get a lot of Zerglings during the early portion of the game. But then again, as soon as those Zerglings are replaced by roaches, those Reapers really fall off in their effectiveness. We are currently sitting on about 100 minerals, 17/19, training up a supply depot, getting a supply depot and some more SCVs. I believe this one Reaper will be able to perhaps shut down this drone. The drone unable to see what's on the far side, but just by looking on this front door, Nerchio has to be expecting Reaper expansion. And now returning home, knowing perhaps that Reaper expansion should be coming in just a moment. Now, what would be interesting is if Lucifron actually changed up his strategy and didn't go for a Reaper expand, but instead went for, say, Banshee or Blue Flame Hellions, which also may be the possibility, as we are now seeing a factory taking over onto that tech lab. The SCV now returning home as well. This one Reaper making its way across the map. Nerchio, being the good Zerg player he is, most likely will be getting 3 queens off of 2 hatcheries. As this one SCV now makes its way over, in comes the Reaper. The Reaper should be able to shut down 1, perhaps 2 drones. 1 drone now down. It looks like he's going after another drone. Will not be... Oh, gets another drone kill there, and he may get 3 drone kills. That may be a lot of damage to be had. There you go, getting 3 drone kills that early on. 20 drones versus 19 SCVs. I know it doesn't look like much damage, but 3 drones early on, I believe it comes about to, besides the 150 resources for the drones themselves, I believe they harvest about 100 minerals a minute. So that definitely will hurt in the long run, especially as Lucifron now going into double gas, going Blue Flame research, getting up a Hellion. So these Hellions will be coming right behind it, and Nerchio has a situation where he can either continue to try to power drone and try to make up those lost drones, or try to go Zerglings and Roaches. And that's always very important. Anytime when you're able to shut down a drone, it's causing a drone to be replaced, and then by causing a drone to be replaced, you do minimize the army of a Zerg player. Meanwhile, back over here, Lucifron is getting that second orbital command. He will be able to double call down mules, one of the strengths of Terran. 23 SCVs with 3 mules. Definitely a very strong economy right now. You can see that he's harvesting more gas and about the same amount of minerals, but then again, 2 mules should definitely do that. We are now going into a reactor here, so it may appear that as soon as the Blue Flame tech is done, the factory may swap, or he may try to be going into Vikings. If he goes into Vikings, he can easily hunt down those overlords in just a moment, or perhaps go for a medevac. He's going to go medevac, Viking, or Viking medevac, Viking medevac. So he's going for a drop and also going to go for Overlord hunting, as there are Hellions on the front door. The Hellions did spot this one spine crawler, and the Hellion's going to perhaps try to pull away or perhaps do something a little bit more tricky. He's wanting to make sure that there are no creep tumors being laid down. One of the benefits of early Hellions, limiting the amount of creep that your opponent can establish, as there are a lot of Zerglings here, and that's going to be a bit of a problem, as two Hellions now trying to run away from the rest of those Zerglings. We did see a nice torching there as the Zerglings now run across the map. We are getting one medevac and one Viking into the air. The Viking needs to hunt for those Overlords. Will they find their target is the key question, as we are now once again going to be doing reactor swapping and now going into those double Hellions. As I mentioned earlier, the Hellion's going to jump inside that medevac. It looks like there is a Reaper still activating this over here, but there has not been any Overlords to really spot and shoot down. Zergling's now going to be pushing their way off over here. There's only one Hellion and a whole bunch of Marines, and that may be a bit of a problem, as we are now getting a refinery as well. Is this Viking going to spot anything important? That is a key question. Got to keep track of the minimap because so much is happening. There could be a battle at any place and any time. Medevac now coming along that far side here. You can see that that Viking is still doing a little bit of patrolling, going to spot a queen, and now going after some Overlords. Overlords are going to be in a bit of a problem now, as they're taking a lot of damage, now down to, what, 62 hit points. A transfusion may come in, but the Overlord looks like it will get, no, not shot down. A horrible misstep. Meanwhile, Hellion's now running in, and it looks like drones are going to get drone barbecued there. So many drones have been destroyed. Are they going to line up and get destroyed? Yes, once again, the Hellions just wrecking the economy line, getting so many drone kills, and Lucifron doing a good job of just splitting up his opponent's attention, doing a great job here. There you can see that there is that Roach Warren here blocking off the escape. Nerchio using Sim City to his advantage, as I believe these Hellions, were there Hellions? These Hellions did not engage anything over there, as taking a look at the losses, 975 versus 350. Lucifron still playing very well. He is not ahead in terms of his economy as much as he would like to be, but he is running off of 2 bases. He does have a decent number of mules, and he is now building a 3rd command center as well. So a 3rd command center now being added, 49 drones versus 49 SCVs, siege tanks, Marines, and now it looks as though Lucifron going to be transitioning into Marine tank. Now, this is perhaps the weakest portion of Lucifron's army when he's transitioning into a new strategy. His army is not going to be added as quickly. Nerchio could easily macro up a lot of roaches and get a lot of damage, even though a Viking has taken out an Overlord in the air. You can see that there is a medevac over here. The medevac and the Marines completely ignoring this Zergling over here. Does Nerchio spot it? Yes, Nerchio does spot these Marines, as we are now going to perhaps go for a drop on the far side. The medevac does move rather slowly, as Hellions are now going to be pushing on this side as well. Nerchio already has a welcome party for those Hellions on the far side of the map. Roaches are activating the Zelnaga towers there, so here are the Roaches. Are the Hellions going to try to push their way through and get completely destroyed? One of them does, as we are now seeing this medevac perhaps trying to be doing a push over here. So Nerchio perhaps going to end up losing some units, as we also see another hatchery down here on the low ground. These Hellions are returning home as the Roaches are pushing out. Pathogen glands will be completed by the time these 6 infestors are done. So mass infestor play. So Lucifron, even though he is slightly ahead in terms of his overall army, it looks as though the proper counter units are being built by Nerchio. So Nerchio not too far behind in this game. 64 drones versus 61 SCVs. This hatchery will get destroyed. Is it going to get canceled in time? Yes, it is canceled in time, as the Marines now finish off this one drone, so that drone cannot grow up and be a hatchery at all. Roaches are in position. It looks like the Overlord will get shot down. Yes, there it goes. And now in comes a drop, maybe coming in. No, the drop going to be happening over here into the mineral line. Instead, so Lucifron now backing off and now dropping straight into here. Nerchio does spot this, so the Marines are being landed. They are upgraded 1-0 and now stimming one at a time to take down this mineral line. A lot of damage to be had. Zerglings now trying to make their way over, and those Zerglings are just having a very difficult time. And there you go. There's the fungal growth. There's not going to be, an infestor getting destroyed, so that was a little bit of a miscalculation there. You can see Roaches trying to push over here, but Lucifron with a large number of Marines in mass numbers, can easily take down mass Zerglings and mass Roaches. Marines now back over here. It looks like Lucifron taking a play from the MMA playbook. Now going to be doing double drops with Medivacs and Marines once more as another hatchery trying to be rebuilt over here. Nerchio trying to make sure that he doesn't stay even on expansions. He wants to be up on his opponent as Lucifron holding 2 of these Naga watchtowers as well. You can see very, very smart play by Lucifron trying to fly around, make sure that they are not activating any of these. And look, it looks like infestors now just taking a little bit of damage from those Hellions. And now in comes some siege tanks. The siege tanks should be able to blast apart those units. One poor Roach does get destroyed very quickly. A Medivac now starting to fly in, does spot another hatchery over here, but is it going to be able to land and deal damage? There are some Zerglings down over here already, and the Zerglings, moving away at just the wrong moment. That is a horrible, horrible mistake there. They could have been easily able to pick apart these Marines one at a time. Roach is now finally making their way in and able to destroy it, but it looks like this Medivac will instead just shut down this hatchery from being built once more. Infestors and Roaches now making their way over. Marines are going to try to finish off this hatchery in time. The Marines are upgraded 1-1, 2-2 upgrades coming in right behind as we are now going into Hive Tech and perhaps a Greater Spire. The Nerchio may cancel that. Yes, cancels that hatchery once more as a main army now pushing across the center. The Marines and the Roaches engaging siege tanks will be able to siege up and perhaps blast away at some of those Roaches. Some damage was dealt, but not enough as Lucifron is pretty much stationary right now as another command center has been completed off over here, perhaps lifting off and landing here in just a moment. Roaches with 1-0 or 0-1 upgrades, now 1-1 upgrades on those Zerglings as well as those Infestors do not have burrows, so a little bit of a strange and curious play there as the Infestors may try to push up that ramp, but there are just too many siege tanks, too many Marines there as we are now seeing Lucifron move out with 4 Medivacs and these siege tanks. A battle's gonna happen here, and Nerchio losing all of his army and getting the GG there. So Nerchio completely falling apart to Lucifron as Lucifron was able to put pressure at the 3 o'clock expansion while also having a very, very large defense at his main base. Lucifron making Nerchio look a little bit just completely outclassing Nerchio in this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to another game in this series between AAA's Nerchio and Lucifron here, and actually I don't know what map it is, but yeah, game 2 taking place here on Tal'Darim Altar.